Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to an interesting walk around of a Russian typical hardware store. It's right behind me. It's actually called Leroy Merlin. Maybe some people have heard of it before. If not, we're gonna go check it out together. From the outside, it probably doesn't look like a hardware store. Now, of course, most people in Russia would know this brand very well. I think it perhaps is the #1 hardware store in all of Russia. And it's actually built on the lower level of these commercial buildings. And it's a really interesting location where this is. They've got all these offices that are attached to it. There's a couple of levels of underground parking. There's this big forecourt right here, which I don't know what they do. There's actually a swimming center across the way, and there's an outdoor swimming pool, which you can't see. And then there's some apartment buildings that are all brand new construction, and they're doing a lot of work here. This is Zil train station, and this is the area of what used to be the Zil motor plant. We can't probably see it from this angle very well. However, this was where the factory was, all of the buildings, and even the accommodation for the people that worked here. We want to go see a hardware store. I have actually convinced my wife to come with me today, and she's already inside walking around. We might bump into her. And this is actually about an hour and a half from my house, but it's conveniently connected by 2 trains. So it was actually nice and comfortable. That's how you can talk your wife into coming to a hardware store in Moscow, when you tell her how easy it is to get here. And she's gone for a walk around. We're actually looking to buy a couple of things, so maybe we'll find them here today. The opening hours are posted right outside. It's open every day from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. So you can come anytime shopping here. Now the weather today is not that great. It's actually been raining for the last hour since we got to this region. So you'll actually see some people just hanging around in the lobby area and aren't ready to go home because of the weather. They've actually got a cafeteria here, which I'll show you. But there's a drink vending machine and all the normal things. You can recycle your batteries and light bulbs right here if you want to. And then you've got all the different choices of carts. There's an interesting sign right here. It says, "We've checked all the prices, and 44,000 of them are cheaper here than our competition," which is really nice. You can also do in-store pickup. I'm not sure how that would be any more practical than coming here. However, it's possible. So this is all in the lower level of this office tower. And these are pretty much the typical way they're built, with this big open design in the roof. They've actually got a garden center off to the left. I've actually been here quite a few times before because I enjoy coming to this location because of how easy it is to come from the train to walk right in here. So there's actually a small garden center because of the fact that there's no bigger outdoor area. They've got lots of things though, pots and plants. And how's the timing? It's raining outside and it's raining inside as well. I think they've got the mist sprayers on from time to time. But how beautiful. I think a lot of the plants in this garden center are designed around indoor use because of all the apartments nearby. So it's a bit more practical to buy something, perhaps a palm tree for your balcony. What do you think? We just walked out of the garden center on the left there. And what they have at this location is something really cool. It's called an ideas factory. And what it is they've actually got different workshops where you can come and actually use the tools and make things. And there's actually one of the employees back there putting something together. And they've got different master classes on different days that you can come here, and you're able to take part in classes where they teach you different crafts and different things. And you can also come here with your own pieces of wood or material or whatever you've got, and you can machine it and work it into something different. So they've got different classes, and then you pay a fee for that, of course, for the different master. And then you'd go into one of these different rooms and you can use the equipment, and then you actually can do it yourself. And then on the left and right here, they've got these different workshop areas where you can do your own thing. You can actually pay a fee to come and use all of the equipment, or you can take part in the classes and learn how to do things. And it's fully equipped and fully kitted out. You can see here the one where they do things like curtains and sewing, and the ladies doing some work. There's another woodworking shop on this side, and it's just so interesting. There's another one down the end here, which is really cool. Well, I think it is. It's actually got the 3D printing machines and all of the different things that they've made. And you can actually come and use these, and pretty much most people will come and learn how to do it and how to use them. But this is proper cool. Over on this side, they've actually got a metal workshop as well, so you can do different types of classes, or you can use the machines yourself. How cool is this? Has anybody seen this somewhere else in the world? The idea behind it is that it inspires you, of course, to maybe buy some of the tools here, or buy some materials and make something yourself, or learn a new craft. It's just something that I've not seen before, and maybe let me know in the comments, have you seen this in another hardware shop somewhere in the world? Walking in the main entrance, it's very typical and very normal of a lot of hardware stores. They've got the customer service at the front. Now, the one thing I will mention is, over time, Leroy Merlin is becoming LemanaPro, and you might see some of the changes as you walk around, where they've got these yellow colored graphics, and the very traditional lime green is what you see in the store, and pretty much everybody's dressed in the Leroy Merlin uniforms. When you first walk in, there's lots of things for the house, maybe a balloon dog, maybe some smellies. Now, the actual store is set out in departments or areas, and usually if you come to different Leroy Merlins, this front section has different seasonal items, and at the moment it's wallpaper that they've got set up here. And wallpaper is a massive thing in Russia. Pretty much every house and apartment has it, and people don't paint their walls very typically, and they've got aisles and aisles of wallpaper that you can buy in pretty much any pattern, color and style you like. Now, the main thing when you come here is you come with a little bit of an idea of what you want. They got the lighting section on this side, so they have every item set up, every item plugged in, so you know exactly what you're buying. And have a look how bright it is here. There's a little bit flashing lights, so we won't stay too much on it, but you can literally walk into these stores and find anything, and you can do your entire house or apartment and remodel it very easily in one store. We've got some wood finish paneling there, which is something new, maybe for feature walls, and then every possible pattern of wallpaper you could imagine. And there's definitely people shopping today, and there's definitely people coming to look for something to inspire them. Curtain section. This is normally where I'd find my wife if she's here. I'm not too sure where she's made it up to yet. And then as we move through, it changes from one department to the other. This is something we want to do in our apartment, is change the flooring to something a little bit more lighter and freshen up the place. I thought everybody might be interested in this walk around because Leroy Merlin is a very well-known brand here in Russia that vowed for a very long time in the last 2 years especially not to leave Russia, not to leave the market. Because they've got such a market share, they don't want to leave and leave us all stranded with nowhere to come shopping. I will try to walk around and point out all the different areas. This is all the different wood flooring, and these engineered floors, I think is the right word for them. And there is aisles and aisles of choices. And this is going to be the hardest thing for us to choose a color or a style, because you're trying to get something that no one else has and try to do it as nice as you possibly can. I've also got linos there. Does anybody have lino in their kitchen or linoleum? Have a look, you can get a football pitch. We don't have enough room on our balcony for one of those. And the carpet section. So this is mostly rugs here. They do actually have the rolls of carpet at the back. But a lot of people who would put wood floor or tiles down would buy rugs. And you can get them in all sizes, shapes and colors. And then the flooring continues. And then somewhere here, we end up at the kitchen section. And you can see these pre-made kitchens. So you bring your measurements and they'll help you design your own kitchen. Now, if you're seeing lots of people wearing green walking through the shots, it's really because there is always a lot of people at work here, no matter what day you come, whether it's midweek or on the weekend. So this is actually their bathroom design section, I think, where you can do the bathroom design and things like tiles and tapware, and you can decide what you want. You can literally just walk in and shop. You find the model that you like, then you just look below and grab it and off you go. Or the staff are on every aisle almost, and they're super helpful, especially if you get one of the guys who's right into his job and loves coming to this sort of place. What we might do is just have a look at the bathroom section, and then we'll come back around to the kitchens. So they have a few set up where you can get an idea of what they look like, and you try to visualize what your bathroom would be. Maybe you want a shower, and then they've actually got them set up here. All the different models and baths. So a lot of what you see here is designed around apartment living and people buying things for a apartment or a flat versus a traditional house. More than enough choices. And then some of these bathrooms at the back here, so you can have a look what it might look like. I never actually realized there was this many choices of toilet lids. Is this normal, or is this just a Russia thing where there's a whole aisle of them? I never knew that you could choose from this many types. Then you've got all the different accessories for the bathroom. Literally, if you were to buy an apartment unfinished, you could walk in here with a list and some measurements and choose every single part of your apartment from the front door to the balcony. Now there is the back section of the kitchen area here, and all of the things like containers and all the accessories. So with the kitchen section, they've got quite a few on display here, so you can get an idea of the style, and they change these every few months and they build new ones as the seasons change. So you can visualize again what it would look like and try then to design it like that. And then you've got this gentleman here putting a new one together. So this is probably their new season kitchen. And you really need this guy to come to your house and help you, hopefully. Otherwise, you'll have to find another guy to come. And so they've got all the different types of kitchens and all the color combinations. The idea is for you to find one that you like, and then you bring your measurements along. And there's a designed section at the back here where you bring your plans and sit down with the staff, and they'll actually design your kitchen right down to every panel, every handle, and then where you want things like ovens and dishwashers, range hoods. They can literally have you choose every single part of your kitchen, and then they'll actually give you the full list of every item for the kitchen build out. And then if you order it, you can then just go to the front and they'll actually bring all the items according to what design you've picked. So you could just come in here and buy just a sink or just a cupboard or some handles. But if you were planning to redo your entire kitchen, or if you're building an apartment from scratch, it's just easier to walk in with your plans and then walk around each section and choose the sink, the taps, the cupboards, and they'll give you that full detailed list. I was just thinking, how is it possible that my wife has walked so far ahead of me? She isn't a big fan of coming to hardware stores. And have a look who's here. She's actually having a look at the kitchen taps, and I think maybe taking a call from somebody. And what are we getting? A new clock, I think. Maybe some hand towels. And I think I'll leave her to have her phone call while she's having a look at the different taps. There's only a few hundred to choose from. She's actually on the phone to the plumber that we've been using recently. We've had some leaks in our bathroom, and she's talking to him about replacing the kitchen tap. So she's making sure that we can find the right one, hopefully. It's probably a little bit hard to visualize how big this is, and I do say it a lot on all my videos. You know, the layout of some of the places just look a little bit smaller than what they feel like. Now, this is one of the smaller locations because it's built into this commercial building, and it's not a freestanding store. Most of the Leroy Merlins around Russia are all freestanding big box buildings. So this one's a little bit more of a compact version. You can see the paint section, and then all the people getting their paint mixed and trying to choose. And you can see very famous brand right here, probably the most famous in the world, I think, by a long way, is Dulux. And then all the different types and styles. Now, for everyone that tells me we're not in Europe, they've got Euro power paint. So is Russia in Europe or not? I get this argument forever in my comments of the videos. One of the big dangers with coming here is you come with perhaps one or two ideas in your head of what you want to buy, and you end up, by the time you get to the exit, you've got a basket load of things that you just realized as you walked through. This is all of the sealants and lots of different cleaning equipment as well. So you could of course buy these in normal supermarkets, but places like Leroy Merlin do a good job to carry as many things as possible to keep you shopping in one place and not necessarily go to somewhere else for something because it wasn't available here. And this is why people love this brand of store. Looks like he's going to do some painting. And you can actually also buy the wood here if you want to make your own wardrobes and cupboards, which is really nice. And then let me see what's around the corner here. I think this is all of the normal wood section. And although it's in a building, it's still got a lot of choices of things. And then the cool thing as well here is they'll have a cutting shop. Let's see if we can find that in the back. So they've got all the different types of wood for any construction you like. Probably can see now how big this store is. Probably from the front entrance when we walked in, you just don't notice it, how big the place is. In the very back corner here, they've actually got a small workshop where they can actually cut some pieces of wood for you. So if you're buying a large piece and you want to make something yourself, they can actually cut it down for you. And you'll see here, this gentleman's waiting. And this gentleman looks like maybe he's making something as well. And it's very inexpensive to do this. They're charging you very little, but they will actually cut for you to size all the different wood panels right here, rather than you having to figure it out yourself. How handy is that? I love coming to places like this now. We've got hardware stores in Australia. I don't think the place that we go to, that's called Bunnings, quite has this assortment and has this much useful help that you can get. So where you can have your piece of wood cut up, or they've got the workshop in the entrance. We'll actually see a cafe further around here. And just the sheer selection of things, I think, is something that's quite unique to Leroy Merlin. Maybe we need a new door. These are actually all internal doors here for your apartment or house. It's quite a lot of choices. And then literally you just open the door like this. And then the one that you want is right inside. You just decide what size you need. And then they've got the door, and then they've got the trim as well. And then if you need the handles, everything is right here. They really do well to put everything together, so it's just convenient to grab what you need. You'll see how many types of doors they have. Maybe 100, and these are just internal doors. These wouldn't be used for outdoor use or for external doors. It's really so many things to look at, and every time I come, I see something new or different, or something I haven't noticed when I've been in here before. Maybe some shelving. And there is actually the normal outdoor doors as well, and windows right here. And then they actually point out the glazing. So there's the double glazing, and then there's triple glazing. So obviously in winter, this is a must to have double or triple glazing, and it's pretty much a standard. These are also interior doors as well. These are the exterior ones. The ones that look like bank vault doors. These are a heavy metal version, and they're very thick, normally about 2 inches thick, and very well insulated as well. And you can see the door locks as well. I really never know why you need so many door locks on Russian doors, but it's possible. And they've got all of the accessories for the doors to be installed. If you're wondering why there's really not lots of shoppers here, is today is Wednesday afternoon on a working day in Moscow. So there isn't really too many shoppers. Traditionally, if you'd come here on a Saturday or Sunday, you would battle to get yourself around the store. These are all the door locks for the external doors. So if you want to replace them or change them, the idea is to bring the whole locking mechanism with you and then find the one to replace it. That's the easiest thing. Or get the guys to help you. That's the next easiest. These are all the internal door handles. And then where you need to just replace the barrel, maybe you bought a new place or you're changed to a rental place, you can just change the barrel of the lock rather than changing the whole mechanism. There's door hinges, and again, there's staff everywhere to help you. This is just a mild traffic jam, so as people are shopping, they leave their baskets in the aisle, so you can actually just walk around and find things on each different section. But if you were to come here on Saturday and Sunday, it would be a whole different place. And we come to a lot of the outdoor and main construction sections. So they've got all the plasterboard right here, and then the steel. Not too sure what you'd use some of these structures for, or steel finishing, but they've got absolutely everything, and very much it's help yourself. So you bring the different basket with you, slide it on there, and then you go for it yourself. So literally, you're not going to multiple places to buy things. You can come right here, buy all the sheeting for the walls or the ceiling, whatever you're planning to do. There's a pretty neat thing over here in the screw section. And there's lots of fixtures here and fittings, of course. And like me, lots of people just looking and wondering, do I need something? However, this screw section, so they've got screws here by size and then in boxes and by quantity. And then in these lower drawers, they've got them where you can scoop them out and you buy them by weight. So you find which one you want. You get yourself a bag right here, scoop out some screws or nails, and then very much like the supermarket, you'd put them on the scales and it'll weigh it out for you. And then you can buy as much or as little as you like, especially if you don't want to buy a whole box of them. You can just buy a handful. And there isn't just a few types here, there is this whole aisle of them. So at the top here is all of the packet ones if you just want, you know, small quantity. And then in these bottom drawers, you just pull them out and then find exactly what you want and pay by weight. How cool is this? Is this unique, or is this something that's everywhere in the world? I really do hope this video doesn't run too long, but I really want to show as much as I can to give you a good idea of what's available in a Russian typical hardware store. These are electric heaters. And then over on this side, which is the more common thing in Russia, is the radiators and houses. Pretty much as a standard to have a central heating system. And then they'll have radiator bars on perhaps the kitchen, lounge room, bedroom. And you can choose from a lot of types. And again, we see one of the gentlemen here. So if you need help, he'll find you which one you need. And then all the different types. And even he's spending a few minutes figuring out which one is which. So you can do the installation yourself, or you could get a plumber to come and do this. And you can get them as fancy as you like. I just realized at the end of the aisle here just how much plumbing things they have. So they've got some displays up the top, of course, but all of the pipes and fixtures, and this would all be for internal piping or ducting. And then this would be then used for the toilet or kitchen taps. So there is everything. Foam insulation, which is a must for winter. And it goes all the way down there to the outdoor plumbing as well. So there is an aisle for everything. These are heated towel rails that are actually plumbed in to the hot water in your apartment, so it's constantly hot. We have this model right here in our place. Now, depending on the space you've got, you can get a bigger or smaller one. And there's only 50 to choose from, mind you. And then over here, I think it's more plumbing items. I think this is to do with the heating in the apartments as well, and the different dials. So yeah, there's a lot of things under the one roof. And no shortage of stock as well. Air conditioning units. These are the split system ones. Obviously the inside and outside of the apartment or house. There is summer here in Russia. Doesn't last very long. Here's the piping for the extractors, if you want to do that. And then these are the small fans that you would have in internal bathrooms. So the selection is extensive. This is all of the concrete and cement. You can see how many choices there are. And a couple of guys here are going to be famous on YouTube for buying some cement and all the stock. This is all single bags that you can buy, and as many as you like, or as many as you can carry to the exit, because there's so many to choose from. So there's pretty much everything for indoor and outdoor construction of a house. Insulation, there's different types. The ones with the backing on the boards, and foam insulation right here as well. It's really interesting coming here midweek because you really see how many employees are actually here versus shoppers. Their green uniforms really stand out very prominently. I think that's the point of it, especially it's on a busy day where you're trying to find something. You're busy looking for the person in that section so they can help you. Generally, they're just pointing you to where things are. This is now all the electrical section. So if you want to replace your plugs and sockets, there is hundreds of different styles and colors that you can go for. These are very, very typical in every house in Russia. But then it's a matter of how colorful you want your house to be and how different. Have a look at how many choices there are. And then each section here is by different color, of course. So if you're trying to go for a certain look, no problems at all. I wanted to change ours in our apartment, but I'm just get overwhelmed when I come into this section with all the choices and what color theme we want to go for. The one thing I will get a lot of comments about is me not showing prices. Now I think it's nearly impossible to make a video on this store and show pricing of things because it's so broad, the amount of items that you can buy. Here is all of the wiring and fuses to do all the internal and external wiring, and then all the choices of cabling that you can buy. It's really just incredible how many choices that you can get in one shop, right from way back at the beginning to when we come out the exit in a few minutes. And then we come to the power tools and all the different brands and types. I think people will recognize Makita. So there is quite a lot of different brands in Russia that are a lot of the different Chinese brands. And I think, of course, depending on where you live in the world, one brand might be recognizable and then another one might not be at all. Because, for instance, in Australia, there's maybe only 3 or 4 different major brands. Then in Russia, you're looking at 20 different brands. And that's what's very difficult when you come shopping if you don't have tools, what brand you should go for. So there is more than enough different brands to choose from. It's just a matter of feeling comfortable with which brand it is, or maybe what price point you want to pay for it. Just the drills, how many do they need? Looking around the tool section and the amount of different choices of things like drill bits. So you've got from the normal sizes that you would use at home up to things you can drill wells with. It's really quite extensive. The one thing that's difficult for me is all the different brands that are not as recognizable. Makita, for certain, I know. And all the different cordless items. So there is a lot of choice. And then all the things are just literally grab and go. So you've got endless amounts to choose from as you walk around. If you're wondering how handy I am a very good helper and a very good assistant, but I'm not the best at doing things. I personally only own the IKEA mini toolkit, if everyone recognizes what that is when they've been to IKEA. And slowly I've got more tools over time, but I'm limited to the basic things. I am trying to do some of these wide shots to show all the people that are in the store here on Wednesday afternoon. So there is quite a lot of people. Some aisles, of course, are more empty than others. But there is definitely shoppers in here. This is a working day, and we're in the center of Moscow. So the people who aren't working, and they're fortunate to be able to come on a Wednesday afternoon to do a little bit of this shopping. Nice. Maybe a swimming pool. What do we think? You've got all the tools there. And then I think the most famous plastic chair in the world for only about $8. And here is my arch nemesis in a lot of videos, the floor cleaning guy. And he's in every shopping center video that I film. Maybe a barbecue. Lots of choices of these. So very traditionally, you get the coal and the briquettes that you would use in these types of open barbecues. And then they've got the little notches in them where you put the skewers to then put the meat or chicken on there or whatever thing you're going to cook. What's very uncommon here is gas barbecues, and these are very untypical in Russia. There's one of these cauldron types, and you can see the actual skewers that they would use with the meat on them. Even a fire pit. Not sure how many people use those in Russia. Depending on the season that you come shopping, they will increase and decrease some of the areas of the store. And I think now is probably the back end of planting season for all of the different fruits and vegetables. They do have a pretty good display though of them here. It's one aisle and then all the potting mix. And I would think because of this location in the center of Moscow, maybe it's not as popular, the gardening section, as it would be in other more regional areas where people would come shopping here on the way to their country houses. So there is still quite a lot here to choose from though. I think we've almost made our way around the store, and all the people probably that are in the film a few times are now at the registers here. So in case you're wondering if they're paid actors or not, these are real shoppers. Now, the reason why most people turn around when I'm filming is because they hear me speaking in English and not in Russian. So it's not that I'm holding a camera and walking around like I am. That's not a problem at all. It's just when they catch me saying something in English that they're a little bit taken back by someone speaking English in a Russian hardware store. Self-checkout, I think we know very well from supermarkets, it's becoming a thing in the hardware stores. Now, if these were paid actors, I would be broke today having to hire so many to be at the registers at the end of the video here. Literally, as I first walked in, off on the right is actually a small cafe. And I did want to show this at the beginning, but I kind of forgot about it as I walked through. So there's a place here you can get something to eat or drink. It's actually doing good business today. There is other places nearby that you can get something to eat. They've got nice salads and rolls, and they've got some pastries. So you can actually have a nice lunch here. It's definitely not takeaway food. And even the cakes as well. Let's see if we can get a look at the cakes. These look very nice. If I can find my wife, maybe I can convince her to come and have a coffee on the way out. I actually haven't seen her since I left her at the tap section. As I head on out of Leroy Merlin, or should I say LemanaPro. Now, eventually all the stores will actually get rebranded and the name will change. I think it'll be tough though for people to come to terms with that new name when it gets put up on the door there. And I've come across Zhenya. She's got her things and I'm trying to catch up to her so she can get in the video briefly. She doesn't like being on YouTube, of course. No worries at all. I hope you've enjoyed this walk around. It's actually raining now as well as we head on home. We did have a plan to go for a walk in a park right nearby here. There's a beautiful park, only 5 minutes walk. But with this rain, no chance today. We're gonna get a couple of trains and head on home. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please let me know what you think of this Russian typical hardware store. And this is absolutely as typical as they come and as normal as they come. And I think there isn't a person in Russia that has not shopped in one of these locations before. Is it similar to where you live? I would say it's kind of similar to Bunnings, but then it has just way more choices of things. And the only thing we don't have at this place, there is that nice cafeteria inside. In Australia, there's a barbecue outside with barbecued sausages. And here, not so much of that is available. So yeah, again, let me know in the comments what you think of this store and the selection. And did you think it was going to be different 2 years into all these events going on in Russia? Everybody keeps telling me, come back 2 years later and show me one particular store or show me what it's looked like 2 years and all the shop would be empty. But you can see there was more than enough things. If you'd like to follow me on Telegram, there's a link coming up right now. You can click that and join me over there. And if you want to watch an old video, I'll put an apartment tour so you can take a look at a Russian typical apartment here in Moscow. Thanks everybody. I'm off for another adventure. Bye.